Welcome to the Real Estate Profiting Podcast with Tabar's Dobbs.
They said that I couldn't do it, so I went and did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, you know I've been on a mission. Go. Okay, let's get it.
I hope you're having an amazing day. Welcome back to another Real Estate Profiting Podcast. I got my man Derek Thomas right here. Man, thanks a lot for jumping on. Derek is an amazing real estate investor here in the Metro Atlanta area doing some amazing deals. In fact, this is one of his deals right here. He's gonna give us a tour of this house, and then we're gonna sit down, pull his story out of him, like to find out how he's been making all this money. Then we're gonna have a masterclass specifically around fix and flips, maybe some wholesaling. You know, I gotta be honest, man. I was like, man, I'm gonna have to go by a tattoo parlor or something because Derek is so cool. He's tatted up. He got the sleeves going. And it's like, you know.
I'll hook you. I'll bring you down there after this.
Okay, yeah, you got to hook me up.
We'll do a tour and then we're gonna go get you a tattoo.
You got to hook me up. You got to hook me up.
All right.
So man, tell us about this project right here.
Ackworth, right on the Woodstock line.
Okay.
Woodstock's about 2 streets that way.
Gotcha.
So a good place to be. And I actually inquired about this house about 4 years ago.
Really?
One of the few scenarios where I tried to buy it.
Okay.
And the lady was like, "You're one of a million people who call me, get lost."
Okay.
And about 4 years later, she called me back. I was like, "Hey, do you still want to buy this house?" I had no idea what house it was, but I was like, "Yes." You know?
Wow.
So here we are.
Hey, that's another thing about this guy. He's an incredible marketeer also. So we're gonna get into that too, because obviously this is a prime example of his marketing prowess, right? Called him back after 4 years. You know, they say the money's in the follow-up, right? Doesn't sound like you followed up too much. She followed up with you.
She followed up with me.
Yeah. I love it. Cool. So it looks like a split level.
Yep. Yeah, split level. Really chopped up on the inside. Formal rooms, doors to everything.
Okay.
You'll see it, but we opened it up. Yeah, we're all the way. We're about to put in drywall Friday.
Okay. So you've already painted the exterior.
Yep. Exterior is iron ore Sherwin-Williams.
Okay.
It's the only black house in the neighborhood. The windows are going to be replaced with all black units, no grids, just full glass, full picture windows. So very modern.
Yep.
The whole corner is going to be wrapped in wood and wood accents around the doors, new handrails, that sort of thing.
Excellent.
Very modern take on a 71 build house in a very traditional neighborhood
71.
if you look around.
Okay. Also, you got to put black gutters on also?
Black gutters, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so split levels are typically very closed in.
Okay.
So we went as big as we could, working with the vaulted ceiling. We opened all this up. This was your whole living space. Built some big custom arches, very modern fireplace, and we took advantage of every square inch we had.
Nice.
So you would walk through here,
okay,
some accent shelving, but you would walk through here to your main living space.
Okay.
You can actually see the island on the floor right here.
You got the island right there.
Kitchen corner. You know, fix your dining room space. You can have a TV here. You could have a TV up there.
Yep.
I don't like to put stuff on the fireplace. I like to keep it clean.
Gotcha.
Recessed lighting, the beam's huge. Obviously, we had to put 28 feet of beam in.
So you put three beams in?
3, and they're about 450 pounds a piece.
Okay.
And me and one other dude did it.
Wow,
So,
nice.
Yeah, that was tough.
Nice. So you actually performed some of the work yourself?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I framed the fireplace up to the size I wanted. I built these arches, some of the custom work.
Okay.
The beams. I actually have a notebook around here somewhere, but I drew all this out like 3 months ago, just on a piece of paper how I wanted it.
Okay, so you actually designed it too?
Yeah, I designed it. This little thing will stay open.
Okay.
Up here with a light fixture, so you can see the light from the fixture from both openings.
Yeah, that's gonna be a nice feature.
Low dimensional touch.
Yep.
And then check this out. So I was gonna keep this house, like I was just telling you.
Okay.
So my wife is a big cook, so
Okay.
she needs a lot of pantry space. So this is your pantry.
Okay.
So big stand-up pantry, lowers, counter space, mixers, bread makers, all that stuff.
Love it.
For somebody who buys it that might want it, you can put your stackable laundry in here.
Okay.
So you don't have to walk downstairs, because nobody likes to walk up and downstairs over and over again.
Gotcha.
And then the rest is pretty standard split level stuff, man. Your community bathroom, your common space,
Okay.
master bathroom, stand-up shower, and then 3 bedrooms all all rolling together.
Nice.
And we got lucky. All these floors are in good shape. We'll redo them.
Yeah.
We'll sand them down, but I mean, there's nothing to change.
Yeah.
Bedrooms are virtually untouched. I'm not even gonna pull the trim out of here.
Okay, okay.
Just slap some new doors in it and paint it, keep it the way it is. So this end of the house was kind of my money saver.
Do a little value engineering.
Yeah.
Are you going back with crown molding throughout, or are you taking this crown down?
This crown is gonna stay.
You're gonna, okay.
And then no crown.
No crown everywhere else. Nice. So crown in the master.
Value engineering, as you say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's it, man. Just new windows everywhere and floors redone.
Okay. I love it.
Yeah. Couldn't be this end of the house was key for us.
Let's go check out the back.
Let's check it out.
The vaulted ceilings just really sets it off, in my opinion.
Yeah, we did. And then we did 4-inch cans. So we did 8 or 6 4-inch cans on each side, just smaller lighting spread out. I see that in a lot of very large houses.
Okay.
So isolated lighting, but it's kind of a more of a dramatic effect.
Yeah, love
I
it.
try to make the space feel really big, but
and with a lot of natural light coming in also.
there's the backyard.
It's a huge backyard.
Huge.
So you already had it graded?
Graded it out. Yeah, we had a big slope by that big tree stump that we had to take out.
It's a huge
Massive
tree. Huge tree.
And we pushed it all flat, so if a family moves in here, it's kind of a family neighborhood, they'll have a place to play catch or barbecue or whatever.
Yeah.
Because this yard really fell off right about here.
Okay.
And the hill that's cut back was right in line with this tree. So you only had a little section before it got up on a hill.
Gotcha, gotcha.
So
I'm gonna ask you about this tree right here, but before I do, let me test your knowledge, test your horticultural knowledge.
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of tree that is?
The guys have told me a bunch of times.
That's a fig tree.
Fig tree.
Yeah.
They were eating them.
Yeah, they should, yeah. And the only reason I know because I'm from the country.
That's right.
Cool. This tree right here, so you actually took this tree down also.
Yeah.
This tree's massive. Like you can like look at the stump on this thing and see this is a massive tree. Like what did it cost to take this tree down?
It was about $4,000.
Which was probably a steal.
I did what I rarely do and I just took the cheapest guy. If they all had the same plan.
What was the price on them?
$6,800, $7,200, and then $4,000 from a guy that lives about 10 houses that way.
Excellent. So keep that in mind, guys. Like, get quotes. Like especially when you have higher ticket items, like, you know, get 2 to 3 quotes. Yeah. Very cool. Awesome, man. So you've already replaced the HVAC system, or didn't have to?
Everything.
Okay.
Yeah, had to.
So the lady you bought it from, did you send out flyers, postcards? How did you make the initial contact with her for this project?
So I'm a roofer, you know that, right?
Okay.
Did you know that?
I didn't know you're a roofer. I knew you were in construction.
Yeah.
I didn't know specifically roofing.
So I do roofs. So I've done a bunch in this neighborhood over the last 5-6 years.
Gotcha.
I was driving through checking on a job and I saw a lady cleaning out the garage and with the hood of a car up. And that car was the first hand-me-down car. It was a 98 Ford Taurus, or a 2001 Ford Taurus that I ever had.
Okay.
So it was just same color and everything. So it was like just kind of weird. So I just pulled in and I figured they were cleaning an estate out, and they were. I helped her that day. She wanted to see if she could get the car running for her brother, went to the store, bought her a battery, changed it for her, just helped her because I was out and about. And then after all that, I mentioned that I would be interested in the home if they were selling it because it was an estate and it was vacant. And she just told me no. And that was actually it. I gave her my card, which was a flyer at the time, and I left. And I maybe called her once, twice, like a year later, and nothing. She was like, oh, I'm not ready, and basically hung up, and I let it go.
Gotcha.
And then she remembered me as the guy who helped her get a battery and helped her get that car running and all that stuff. And so she called me first when she was ready to sell. And we settled on the price pretty quick.
Very cool.
Which was decent.
Very cool. Very cool.
The rest is history. Here we are.
Gotcha. What'd you end up picking up for?
186.
186. Okay.
Not bad. I wanted it for about 150.
Okay.
Back when I had talked to her, but that was pre the big market, right?
Gotcha.
So it was 4 years ago. So she knew that values had gone up and even resale. So I leveled with her.
Okay.
186. Had a $80,000 rehab budget.
Okay.
So 266.
260. Okay, 260.
And then from that 260, I have a 10% interest, so another 26 grand. So I'm right about, what is that? Right about 280 to 300. My budget's gone up about 20 grand.
Okay.
So I'm honestly, my end all expectation is about 306.
Got you. Where do you think you'll land at on the resale?
I had a guy from the neighborhood also who invests in homes come up the other day, and he walked on and said he would take it right now if I just took my tools and left for $350 cash.
Okay.
Not bad.
Okay.
To not even do it, just to go home.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I've been paid less to go home. And then I had a realtor and representing a person come and look at it, and I threw a number of 415 at them, and she said done. So that puts me at about 104,000.
Nice. Let me shake your hand on that one, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Congrats, man. It's going to be a lovely house. What's your timeline on it?
Probably a month.
Okay.
A month. A busy month, but
okay.
the rest of it, once drywall's up, it's
absolutely
slapping things in place. So
sound like it's going to be a good fourth quarter.
it is going to be a good fourth quarter. Yeah.
Very cool. Cool, man. Well, look, let's sit down, man. I want to find out more about your story. So yeah, let's just have a conversation, Derek. Let's get into your story, man. Let's because we haven't known each other very long. I think maybe like a couple years.
Yeah. Shirley Street.
Yeah, we actually met on Shirley Street. You were doing a house on Shirley Street. I was doing a house 2 doors down.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell them you tried to steal my guys.
I did. I did.
But they actually, they're on salary.
Yeah.
So, but look, I would have did the same thing. So, and for you guys listening, right? Like that's what you're supposed to do.
It is, yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do. I mean, like when you see, skilled people, it doesn't matter if they're carpenters, electricians, plumbers, HVAC guys, roofers, painters. If you see guys doing good work,
Yep.
you want to find out, hey, look, do you work for other people? If so, give me your number. That's how you get good guys.
Yeah. Especially in Atlanta, because if you can drive for 10 minutes and see 4 flips.
Absolutely.
Right, they're everywhere. So if you're driving by and they're doing a good house, good siding, and you are going to have siding eventually to do,
right?
At least get their number.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. It was really interesting too, because you actually stopped by and introduced yourself to me, which again, that's like another good thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're an investor, as you guys are, right, or starting to become, when you're like in neighborhoods that you're either doing projects in or looking to do projects in, and you see other projects going on, like stop your car, truck, and get out and go and meet the people.
Yep.
Right? That's how Derek and I met.
Yep.
It was really cool because as you can see, this guy is just cool. He's just a cool guy, and we really just kind of hit it off. And I almost tried to do some deals together.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll end up getting something done sooner than later.
Absolutely.
I just got to get you to, stop keeping all the good deals to yourself and sell me some of the good ones.
Yeah, I got you. I will.
Yeah, it was cool. But where you from, Derek?
I'm from Vermont.
You're from Vermont?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
New England.
Yeah.
But I've been down here for like 8.5 years, almost 9 years.
Get out. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never been to Vermont.
Most people haven't.
Yeah. What brought you down south?
I moved to Orlando to Motorcycle Mechanics Institute to work on Harleys. And my 2 roommates that I had by chance were, one was from Marietta and the other one was from Dallas, Georgia.
Okay.
So when it came time to get out of school and go somewhere else other than home, my options were home or Marietta or Dallas.
Got it.
So I went to Dallas, and the rest was history.
Very cool. Very cool. So you ride the hogs, huh?
I did, yeah.
Okay, not anymore?
Since children, I have sold them, and there's not, I can't put a 7-year-old and a 18-month-old and a wife on a Harley. So
I got you.
But I will.
Kind of makes
time.
sense.
Yeah.
Kind of makes sense. I've been on one motorcycle in my life. I was in high school. It was a dirt bike. It was my friend's, and it's my first time ever on a motorcycle. I got on it. You know what happened?
Whiskey throttle. Oh yeah.
It flipped me. Like I've never been on another motorcycle since.
That's
yeah, man.
We've all been there.
Yeah, for sure. So cool. So So you came here from Florida after you finished school. Like, what did you do then? Like, how did you end up in construction?
This is it, dude.
Yeah.
I was a carpenter by trade. That's what I did all through school, construction. That's what I did before school. That's how I always paid the bills to like fund the dream.
Okay.
And then by the time I was done getting my degree or, whatever, I was already making more as a project manager, commercial project manager, or when I had my own companies doing commercial client work or residential client work.
Okay.
I was already making way more money than my degree was going to make me.
Gotcha.
So that was fun to go get the degree, but it was just like, well, I'm just going to stay here and keep making more money.
Okay. Makes sense.
And it just progressed. I did client work, took on a partner in roofing. I was doing the residential remodeling side, and the roofer came in, pulled those businesses together. That did really well. I learned the roofing. Eventually, like most partnerships, we parted ways, and I just carried that with me. I ended up working for some investors and doing all the work just as the crew.
Okay.
And investors have tight margins for the most part. So I was doing a lot of work.
Yourself, but keep going.
Sure, yeah. I still have tight margins.
I hear you.
Long story short, I saw the money they were making, and I could still manage the work. So I was like, well, I'm just going to do this for myself. And the network for shaking hands, like to your point earlier, the network I had built in that time, it took me no time to find private money. It took me no time to find people to endorse those deals, and I hit the ground running. So
I love it, man. I love it. And when was that? Like, how many years ago was that?
2.5 years ago.
That's it?
That's it.
Get out.
Yeah.
Get out. Wow. Because obviously I'm sure a lot of guys, in the construction field, because you were actually in the construction field.
Yep.
Why don't you think more guys, that are in the construction field, either make the transition and or just add, the investment to their repertoire of economic activity?
Why do they or why don't they?
Why don't many of them? I mean, some do, but the majority don't.
Yeah, people are afraid of money.
Huh. Interesting.
The big debts scare them.
Yeah, gotcha.
As they, I don't think they should scare them, but I think they should definitely be weary of what they enter without the knowledge to go into it.
Yeah.
I'm very different. My first time borrowing, the first year that I borrowed over $3 million in like 3 months.
Okay.
I found one guy that was like, I'll give you a lot of money. And I was like, how much?
Okay. He told you went and found the deals.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I had 7 houses all in Atlanta at once. That's when we met.
Get out.
I just bought them all.
Get out.
I was like, hey, and he just didn't stop. So I was like, I got a deal. He was like, fund it.
Yeah.
And that didn't go seamless.
Okay.
There was some lessons learned for sure.
Of course.
So I don't recommend borrowing $3 million right off the rip. But I do recommend borrowing money and figuring it out.
For sure. Yeah, no, leverage is good. There's such thing as good leverage.
Absolutely.
Leverage increases yield when you have positive leverage.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the keys in this business. And so we're talking about construction, because of your background, like you obviously have an advantage, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of people that start in real estate, especially the fix and flip strategy, the contractors is what you always hear is like, the contractors, I just can't find contractors, or I can't find good contractors.
Yeah.
Or the contractors took advantage of me.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you found that to definitely be an advantage for you, huh?
It's a catch-22. So the guys who don't know anything should be even more proactive. They should say, Derek just said, I should just go do it.
Yeah.
Because they have no choice but to implement a system.
Absolutely.
And what helps you grow? A good system.
A good system.
If you're a Mr. I can do it all, you're going to have a really large load on your back, man. You're going to be tired, and you're going to be trying to float too many things and do too many things, and you're going to be selfish about putting that task on somebody else.
Yeah.
So it's a battle that I have to teach myself regularly. I have to say, right as I'm about to walk out the door to go do something, I have to say, can I find somebody else to do this?
Gotcha.
And what's it worth?
Yeah.
Guys who don't have the option to walk out and do it themselves, you have nothing but upside. You'll find a system, you'll make it work, and you can rely on that system and refine it. I think it's better.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, man, I think that's some great advice right there, because it's all true, obviously.
Yeah.
From experience, right?
Yeah. Every day.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. So, So the lender that you were just talking about, you borrowed $3 million from. Are you still working with that guy or
Sometimes.
person or company?
Sometimes.
Awesome. Okay.
They're a big lender. I like a little bit smaller, more personal relationships.
Gotcha.
So sometimes, but it was a good relationship for the time of learning. They were very, very lenient as far as like monthly repayments. If I was a couple days behind, they weren't hammering me on fine print.
Gotcha.
And that was appreciated because certainly they always can.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I still coordinate with them a little bit.
Very cool. Very cool. You we just talked about like contractors. Just kind of circle back on that.
Yeah.
Like, what advice would you give to newer investors on finding good contractors? Because that seems to always be the bottleneck for people trying to get into the fix and flip strategy of the market. Is finding good contractors to work with. What would be your advice, being that you were in the contracting business, actually still do contracting?
Yeah.
What would be your recommendation to find great contractors and or subs?
I can do it. I can do it for you. But outside of me, I would just look up a GC. Again, if you're seeing a house being built and there's a permit box, you open that permit box, there's a company in there.
Yep.
That may feel a little intrusive. If not, you can go on the job site and ask who runs the job.
Yep.
Find a GC and find a company owner you can actually reach out to, not a project manager, just a company owner, and find somebody who works with other investors or invest themselves.
Gotcha.
I'll throw a name out, but Chad Beers, he lives up here in Canton or somewhere in this area. He's an investor himself. He does more rental side of stuff.
Okay.
But he's done fix and flips for years. Him and a lot of other guys, because they're so vetted in it, are more than willing to jump in there and do an entire scope for you.
Gotcha.
And they've been around. They build custom homes, houses, spec houses. They've done fix and flips. If they have experience in it, that's your guy. Gotcha. Sounds good, man. So you guys now know, some ways that you can go out and find good quality contractors for your projects. Yep.
So Derek, I know, when we first kind of connected, I kind of asked you from time to time if you had any deals that maybe you didn't want to do yourself, that maybe you were looking to sell.
Yeah.
And turns out you actually, did a little wholesaling.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. One, do you still do wholesaling? And like, what do you like most between fix and flip and wholesaling?
Yeah. I think they both have their place.
Okay.
So I ran a wholesaling operation for a little while. I had VAs, I had employees, I had kind of crossed a couple businesses when I'm doing roofing. We're going door to door a lot with roofing. So in those encounters, we often find opportunities to buy homes.
Yeah.
So I had kind of cross collaborated all of those different resources. Nobody wants to hear this, but wholesaling is a lot of work.
Gotcha.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
And that's like sold as the dream of like, get into real estate free and it's easy and you'll make $10,000 in your first week. And that's probably not true. If you want to scale it, it's like any other business. It's complicated.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
If you just want to stumble across a deal every now and then, make 5 Gs, yeah, I'm sure that can happen.
Gotcha.
I've made multiple 6 figures each year doing wholesaling, but I'm very, very deeply ingrained in the real estate market in Atlanta, as you probably are.
Absolutely.
I get 30 deals a day. I'm with every acquisitions company. I'm with every little small-time wholesaler from Facebook groups all the way up to the big companies and hedge funds. So I don't miss a deal.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So that makes it really easy. I like the money of wholesaling because it's not physically labor intensive like this. I don't have deadlines and this and that. It's just paperwork and I can automate most of that. I enjoy the process of flipping.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of how I do it.
Yeah, I love it. That's, I think, one of the really dynamic things about the real estate business.
Yeah.
There are so many different real estate investing strategies that you can get involved in, you can take advantage of. And to be honest, that's really one of the reasons why I started Real Estate Profiting, is really to shed light on many of these different strategies.
Yep.
So yeah, man, that's awesome. You mentioned something in terms of like the wholesaling operation you ran and how that you don't miss a deal. I think that right there speaks to your marketing prowess. That's one thing I noticed immediately about you when we met a few years ago. because like when you started on that house on Shirley Street, like I drove by, left my property, drove down the street, I think heading home or somewhere, and I saw you had this huge sign in the front yard.
Oh yeah, it's out there.
Okay, yeah. They're saying, I think it says something like, this house was purchased with cash.
Yep.
I'll buy yours too, or something like that, right?
Derek Thomas.
Derek Thomas,
Yeah.
absolutely. And, what crossed my mind was this guy understands marketing.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, talk to me a little bit about, how you think about marketing and, how did you kind of hone your marketing chops? Was it just intuitive or, did you study like other marketing outfits? Like,
yeah, good question.
What do you think about marketing?
Marketing is everything.
Okay.
And even to this point, marketing yourself. So I don't ever enter an opportunity just to talk to somebody even at a gas station without remembering like what my purpose and what my wants are in life.
Gotcha.
Right? And not to be like a selfish manner,
Yeah.
but like I need to be a person of value to other people. So that means all the time.
Okay.
If you shake a hand, that could be the hand that changes your future, but you don't know because you're just being like lazy and selfish and whatever. That's fine, but it's a lot of missed opportunity just because you're being sheltered. Right?
Yeah.
So the more hands I've shook in my life, the more places I've been at the right time. It seems like people would call it luck. I mean, I met the shirt, John Troutman.
Okay.
I met him. I went to one of his events, but I didn't know who he was. His
Okay.
Real Estate Knowledge Institute out of Arizona.
I'm very familiar with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I went to one of his events, but I didn't know who he was. I actually met him at the urinal in the Marriott.
Okay.
And he was like, "Hey, what's up, dude?" And I was like, "Who the heck talks to each other at a urinal?" So I was like, "What's up, bro?" And then it took me a minute, and I was like, "Why did that guy seems like he was somebody?" So I went back to him after and apologized. I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry for not saying hello at the urinal," which is a weird thing to say. And then I realized who he was, and I was super glad I went back. Since then, I've flown out to his seminars. He hooks me up with free merch and free tickets, and we collaborate. And I send deals to his teams, and
Nice.
he talks to me. And so marketing, just outside of signage or whatever, it is going to be everything.
Yeah.
And it has to be every opportunity. So marketing to me is bigger and more.
Gotcha.
You've seen a lot of bandit signs, right?
Mm-hmm.
You stick them in the yard. They're this big.
Right.
How big was my sign?
It's huge. Yeah. It's like you
4
could
foot by
barely
4
see the
foot.
house.
It's 4 foot by 4 foot.
Yeah.
And every house that I'm wholesaling, flipping, or renting has a 4 foot by 4 foot sign in front of it.
Okay.
It's $120 to get it made or whatever.
Yeah.
So I put them everywhere, and they're huge, and it's my property, so I can put it there until
absolutely.
the county tells me otherwise.
Absolutely.
Outside of that, you could go down a whole wormhole of marketing.
That's right.
And I won't for
Okay.
time's sake unless you
Okay.
want me to. But it's just about repeat exposure, though. A lot of people do the mailers. I don't do mailers because you get like a 1 to 3% return on your mailers, right? And you have to send out high volume. But a lot of guys, when they get into wholesaling, for example, or flipping, typically wholesalers though, they'll send those mailers out to this one list they just bought off List Source or whatever.
Right.
And then they never send another mailer out to them again.
Gotcha. No follow up.
Because they've moved along to a new list, which they're going to hit in four more months, maybe, when they get some more money up for mailers. That follow-up is the only thing. Otherwise, you're giving them trash to throw away.
Yeah.
They're not looking at that till the 10th, 15th, 20th time you've sent it. So outside of direct marketing, like as a person or your own social media platforms, which have local reach, I think that broadband sort of marketing, unless you have the volume and the money to keep it up repeatedly, I think your best bet is shaking hands.
I hear you,
and
man.
Talking to people.
I hear you. Look, like I talk to people every day, and every day I literally talk to people about property. Like, like, do you have property or know someone with property that they may want to sell? You'll be surprised how many properties I've bought that way.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like this secret, almost. It doesn't
It is,
cost
yeah.
anything. So yeah, man, excellent. So like, how many deals do you have right now? I know you do multiple deals, simultaneously. How many projects you have right now?
This one, I have one in Cartersville, about 40 minutes from here.
Okay.
A really creative deal you'll like.
Gotcha.
And then I have one in Hickory Flat, for sale by owner. That's about 30 minutes from here.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
3.
And how did you find the Cartersville deal?
Selling roofs.
Gotcha. Okay.
I walked up and I knocked, and I was like, what's going on here? You know, just talking to her. And she was like, honestly, I wish I could just sell this darn house instead of fixing this roof. And I was like,
You're talking to the right guy.
I was like, do you? And I spent about 2 hours with her and structured a super, super cool creative deal.
Okay.
And the rest is history. So
cool. Tell us about it. So is owner financing, or you took over debt?
you'll like this.
Okay.
So it's a seller carry note.
Okay.
What that means is she's going to give me the rights to the property to renovate it, etc., do whatever I want to it, but she's going to keep the mortgage intact. So I'll tell you why. Her goal, she owes 91 grand.
Okay.
Her goal was to make enough to simply pay off her mortgage and get into an apartment, maybe buy some new furniture.
Gotcha.
Okay, she's done with the house. It's just her there.
Gotcha.
Too much upkeep. By the way, the house is beautiful. I'm a very honest guy. So when I ran comps, that tells me that she'd be happy with like 115. That's like a lot, like 25 walk away or 30 walk away, you know.
Okay.
But I didn't need that big of a margin just to be morality in the deal.
Okay.
So I paid her 140. So she'll walk away with $50,000.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
In exchange for a deal. I made a deal with her. I said, my lenders right now they're taking 10% with the inflation and everything. That's what my private money gets. So I said, here's the deal. I'll give you all the equity up front in cash if you carry the 91 grand for me till I'm done flipping this house. She said, no brainer. And I said, I got to leave a little room in there for like taxes and fees and stuff. So I'm giving her $35,000 cash for keys. Okay, that's for her to just leave.
Okay.
She's going to keep the mortgage intact at a 2.75% interest rate.
Wow.
So I'm going to pay the mortgage for 4 months.
Wow.
That's part of the deal.
Okay.
And then when I sell, she'll get paid off the rest and I'll get paid.
Nice.
So I only had to borrow the 35 cash for keys and about 40 for rehab if I use it all.
Okay.
Probably more like 30.
Okay.
I went to Facebook, typed in a post. I said, who has 75 grand for me? I got about 15 people responded and DM'd me. So I probably raised like 400 grand.
Wow.
But I had one guy who's a local kid, new to the field, wants to get in, project manager, commercial work. So a good network to be in. He's got subs and stuff.
Excellent.
I gave him a straight 10% return, $7,500, still well below what I would have had to borrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I have $0 in the deal, and I'll flip it, and I'll be on the market in probably 30 days.
Love it.
And
Love it. Love it.
Anywhere from conservatively 60 to 80 grand.
I love it. I love it. You know, it's that's again, it's one of the things I love about real estate, right? If you solved her problem, basically. Yeah. You know, you had a conversation with her, you understood what her problem is, and you solved it for her.
Yeah.
And she's happy, you're happy. And whoever the buyer is going to be, I'm sure they're going to be happy. And it's like, it's a win-win-win situation. It's awesome, man. Excellent. Yeah. Excellent.
Very cool.
Good deal, bro. Good deal. So I know, Derek, so like how many deals do you do like a year?
It depends on the deals.
Okay.
I have a hard time not doing really big deals. Like, gotcha. I don't know how many cosmetic deals you do. I envy the people who do cosmetic stuff. Being from a construction background, most people, like you and me, most people buy like one house. Well, they don't have 10 houses a year, like you or I. Mm-hmm. So when they buy that house, that's their everything.
Yep.
That's their big payment. That's their livelihood. It's their family. It's whatever. I don't have an easy time going into a house and cosmetic updates and leaving, knowing that somebody's everything. They're like safe haven. So I tend to get into deals that are really involved like this. Like there's nothing I haven't touched in this house.
Gotcha.
Nothing.
Gotcha.
But when I sell this, I know this person's good into perpetuity, and I'm going to give them my card, and I'm going to give them my name, and I happen to live about 15 minutes up the road, so they can call me.
Love it.
So with that being said, the most I've ever done in a year is 7.
Okay.
And that was a crazy year.
I can imagine.
Because these are 3-month projects, 3.5-month projects. Maybe longer. This one's pacing about 3.5 months. I would love to be one of those companies that does 30 houses a year. Or those guys like on Instagram that do, I flipped 100,000 houses this year with no money. You know? Whatever, dude. But I'm sure they did. But I don't know how to do that and walk away from deals feeling good. I like to go to closing tables and meet buyers. And I like to grew up in a small town, so it's just that sort of handshake, word of promise thing. So I do 10 or less. 10 would be 10 would be a really busy year for me at this scale.
Gotcha.
But I like it. I like that pace.
Very cool, man. It says a lot about you as an individual. You know what I mean? That one, you want to create a great product.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, man, that's really what matters. And, a lot of people, they jump into this business and, of course, we've all heard the term, just throw lipstick on a pig, right?
Yeah.
But what happens is those deals, they never go right. They never work out. Ultimately, they always go bad.
To some degree, yeah.
So yeah, man, kudos to you. I know that, in a previous conversation we had, I know that you're involved in other businesses.
Mm-hmm.
You've invested in other businesses, may have started other businesses. Tell me about some of those other businesses you're part of.
I have, yeah. I ran a roofing company with some partners. I had mentioned earlier, when we parted ways, it was a good parting of ways. We actually sold to a different company. We sold out our book of business.
Great.
We did very well with that company. I've helped start up a few small digital media marketing firms. One of my big things is, I don't want to say philanthropy because that's corny.
Okay.
But it is. It's
not really corny
it's
at
like
all.
young guys
Okay.
starting businesses. I've been there and you've been there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very long road.
Yep.
And as long as somebody's willing to put the work in, I've put money into different things, and I've even let people live with me so their money could go towards their stuff.
Gotcha.
But right now I do roofs. I do this. I wholesale. I worked with a exotic car brokerage for a little while.
Okay.
You've probably seen on social media, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. In fact, I think you did mention that to me. Yeah.
So I worked with that for a little bit. I'm very much like a ADD, like shiny object thing.
Gotcha.
So when I get a new idea, my thing I've learned to do is when I get a new idea of interest, I don't personally have time for it. So I'll dive into my network and I'll just put some feelers out and I'll look for an entrepreneur who I think has that thing about them in that field. And I'll just give them my input, maybe my money or my backing, my creative ideas, and I help them bloom. And then that way I can get my little taste of it, my little fix of without completely taking me away from the things that are important.
Cool.
So,
Cool. Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, look, we're gonna have a quick master class. Okay. Very quick master class because you got all of this knowledge, and it's like there's someone watching this right now or listening to this right now. They're either investing in real estate right now and want to do more, or they haven't started and they're looking for answers on how to get started. I've actually created this framework, which I have affectionately termed the real estate profiting framework, to real estate investing. And it's really 5 steps. Is 1, identify the deal. It's analyze the deal. It's acquire or control the deal. It's add value to the deal and profit, right? Just, kind of, some sound bites. What would you say the first step to identifying a good deal?
This is kind of off the cuff, but I think you have to be able to know exit strategies, or you don't know what you're identifying.
Okay.
There's a highest and best use, and these are things you can learn pretty easily. Books, I love books. That seems to be a lost thing. I'm sure there's a billion YouTubes about how to evaluate deals, but I think your best.
Well, identifying one, like how would they find a deal to even start with?
3 channels, driving around.
Okay.
This neighborhood right here has some vacant houses in it. I'll tell you that.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
Stay away from them. No. So drive around, look for vacant, forgotten homes. That's an easy one.
Okay.
And then you'll have to have some sort of resource, whether it be public records or Intellius or whatever the other things people use to search data is. Facebook groups.
Gotcha.
There is deals, and people have already found them. So I think trying to find that organic deal, like that house in the neighborhood or whatever, I think that's not really necessary. There is hundreds of thousands of people out doing that for you already.
Gotcha.
Just join some Facebook groups.
Gotcha.
And then that takes away, time is money. So that takes away the time of driving around, the gas, the wear and tear on your vehicle. You're doing that outside of your normal job.
Okay.
So I would say just join Facebook groups. Join as many wholesaling or real estate Facebook groups as you can. There's your deals.
Great advice. Great advice. Okay. Step number 2, okay, they found a deal. They got on a Facebook group. They put some, fillers out there.
Mm-hmm.
They've identified a good deal.
Yep.
How should they analyze that deal?
One of two ways.
Okay.
If you're going to do it yourself, you need to know multiple ways to get rid of that property.
Gotcha.
I've done a good bit of what I coined astro flipping, and I've heard that term recently from other people, and I don't know if they use it the same.
Okay.
But you come into a house like this. This was piled full of stuff.
Gotcha.
Okay. You couldn't even walk through here, which is why I missed some of my due diligence. I've come into houses, bought them with lenders' money. I've come into houses, completely cleaned them out, patched a little drywall if there was like a couple small things here or there, and mowed the grass. And I've profited 16 grand off them before, just selling them to a new investor because he could come in and see the vision.
Gotcha.
So even that's an exit strategy if there's a spread in there for that.
Yeah.
Which is just like a more labor-intensive version of wholesaling. But you're either going to need to learn how to run numbers on a deal, which is, don't prolong it. That's something you need to do as a professional in real estate. 99% of wholesalers don't even know how to run numbers.
Gotcha.
And they waste the deals. So learn how to run your own numbers. Don't take what the wholesalers or realtors or whatever tell you. We know that's not always correct per your network.
Absolutely.
Or jump a step, because this is your next question. Find an investor, a lender who's going to give you cash.
Okay.
Bring them to lunch. Okay. Cheapest but most brilliant lunch you'll ever have. Pay for lunch, sit them down and say, if you're going to invest in a deal, what does it need to look like?
Right.
And write down what they're willing to invest in, because then you'll never have to ask, would you invest in this? You already know. It's their box.
Right. Right. And they've essentially analyzed it for you.
So
right.
that's two ways now. The deals are on Facebook. They're there for you. You don't have to do it. The investor will tell you exactly what he wants. You don't have to do it.
Yeah. So you just, obviously, like you said, you just knocked down the third thing, which was, okay, now that you've analyzed the deal, acquire the deal or control it, because in some deals you don't even have to acquire it, right?
Correct.
You can just control it, right? Then the fourth step in this process is adding value, right? Like, what would you say to that step in this framework? Because that's what you're doing here.
Yes.
You're adding value. Like, what would you say about the adding value step?
Yeah. So adding value is going to be directly proportional to your exit strategy.
Yep. Agreed.
You have to know what kind of value could be added within your means, within your time frame, within your budget.
Yep.
Okay. So as a new person, I wouldn't look at a job like this. This was huge. It was a very, very big, just like your Shirley Street. That's huge.
Right.
Okay. Don't do that.
Right. Right.
Look to get out, and don't get star shocked by what you could make as a flipper if the spread is $80,000 or whatever. Just leave that alone. Work within your means, and then know if you could get in, wholesale it for $5 grand and walk away, and you don't really have a contractor network or whatever, wholesale it.
Mm-hmm.
Your value is bringing that to somebody who actually can realistically do what you can.
Yeah.
And that's modest and it's profitable. Once you get not modest and outside your range, you're going to lose money, or at least not make as much as you could. And then grow from there. Like if there's a bigger spread in it, and you want to clean it up and make 30 grand, but if you tried to wholesale it and people couldn't really get a good idea of it because it was full of crap and you only wanted 5 grand, look at the cost of going in there and cleaning it up. Ask if you can have more due diligence, do a partner agreement with the seller. Maybe it's direct to seller or direct to owner. Go in there and clean it up. Maybe you'll spend $2,500 cleaning it up, but somebody's now willing to pay 12 grand on an assignment because they can actually see what they're working with and do due diligence.
Yeah.
So there's these many intervals where you can get involved without getting buried. You're adding value, whether it be on a resale or bridging it to a buyer or a full renovation like this. Those are all ways to add value. A value add is not just a roof. And then that's where your profit comes from. Just make sure it's within your wheelhouse of what you can do.
Absolutely, man. Well said. And you just hit the last step of that framework is the profit, right?
Yeah.
It's like, that's where your profit comes from. It comes from the value that you add. So I think that was succinctly done, man. That was an excellent masterclass there, man. Yeah, that was an excellent masterclass, man. Derek, man, I appreciate you, man, for taking time out your schedule. I mean, you're obviously a busy guy, doing projects like this, several at a time. So I know your time is valuable. So I appreciate you taking the time, jumping on camera with us, sharing your amazing knowledge and expertise with the real estate property community.
Got it.
And just want to say thanks, bro.
Thanks, man.
And send me a deal.
I got you. I got you. I'll send you a deal. If I get anything down in Decatur, those areas where you work.
Yeah.
I've been staying home a lot. My daughter's 18 months, and I like to just be home as much as I can, which is not often.
That's
so
awesome.
I'm not doing South Side or Atlanta or anything like that. So anything pops up, I'll shoot it to you.
Yeah, please do, man. Please do. And you have beautiful kids, by the way. I see him, little boy and little girl. And obviously, he loves football and baseball.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome, man. So good for you, man. How can people connect with you, either online or offline?
Yeah. Online would be easy. Just Derek Thomas. I think it's Derek Thomas Official. So that's pretty easy.
Okay.
It's usually the first one to pop up on Instagram. And offline, jump in the ring in Atlanta real estate, and I'm sure we'll cross paths.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha. And you have some great content too on Instagram. So
yeah,
definitely connect with.
A bunch of reels on there, and
yeah,
I'm not on the podcast or the YouTube thing, but you can cover that. You give good info.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like I love watching your posts when you post, because you have some really insightful information, and obviously it's all real because you're in the field doing this every day. Yeah. You're not someone that's just on the camera talking.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, side note about marketing, just so everybody knows, because sometimes people feel corny about being on camera and whatever. I put a post up the other day asking for 75 grand, just random. I'm like, who wants to give it to me? I would say 9 out of the 10 people that responded were folks I'd never talked to ever. And they all said the same thing. Hey, I've been watching your stuff for a while. I've seen some of the projects you do. I would give you money. And then I've even had a guy off Instagram before reach out, random person. He actually moved here from Arizona, and he saw one of my posts and he offered to give me 200 grand.
Wow.
Just put it in a fund towards rentals.
Love it.
So post your stuff, share all your stuff. I do the bare minimum. That's again, marketing yourself.
Yeah.
It's worth hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars because people build rapport with you, even though you don't know they're watching.
Yep.
They're watching. And eventually you're going to want to just put a feeler out there for money or support or infrastructure of teams, and everybody's already there. You just have to realize that.
Excellent, man. Excellent. Thank you for sharing that, because it's very true. It's very true, man. It's very true. So you mentioned some rentals. So you actually do rental strategies, single family strategy rentals as well.
Small. It's new.
Okay.
It's 16 units at the moment.
Okay.
Good equity. We refied at a strong point right before the interest went up.
Gotcha.
So we're holding very, very strong.
Okay.
Way under leveraged at this point, which is good.
Which is where you want to be, especially in this market.
Yeah. Right before the spike, we refinanced everything into a portfolio loan.
Okay.
Fixed, and we're sitting at about 4.5%.
Excellent.
And everything's gone up. So as long as everything goes up, I'm smiling.
I hear you.
That was a good move. And I was at the Avalon eating, and I heard a foreign guy next to me talking to somebody about he was going to do that. And from what it sounded like, he had a much larger portfolio.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I feel like I should do that, because if he's going to do that, and he has
Gotcha.
millions and millions of dollars of real estate,
Okay.
the worst thing that could happen is I'll lock myself in at 4%.
I hear you.
Not a big deal.
Which is great. There you go,
You
man.
hear somebody else talking about what you do, just
There you go.
lean over.
There you go. There you go. Very cool. Very cool. Well, awesome, man.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate your time, Derek.
Appreciate yours.
Did it? W's only, I've been winning. Go. Okay, let's get it.
Hey guys, look, if you made it this far, you are officially a real estate profiteer. So I hope you enjoyed that video. And look, if you haven't already, go ahead, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you'll be notified every time we drop some amazing real estate investing content. Last but not least, you can check this video out right here. It's one of our most popular videos on our channel. This one right here is a video that we'll know you love as well. Real estate property, let's go.